If you're not patching your systems, your software and hardware systems, those introduce ridiculous amounts of vulnerability. And so there's a statistic, and I believe it's from InfoSec Institute. Yeah, InfoSec Institute says infrequent firmware updates leave 83% of home Wi-Fi routers vulnerable to attack. 83%. That's
Wow.
a lot of routers that are vulnerable to attack because nobody's updating their firmware on the router. And most people are like, update my firmware on the router? How would I even do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, home network is naturally vulnerable. And then quoting from this article again, it's up to you, the end user, to keep an eye out for signs of suspicious activity and figure out what to do if your network is hacked. So, and that comes right on the tail end of the 83%. So, it could be risky behavior, but it could be you're just not patching your systems. So it could be your fault. It could, technically they're both your fault, but if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
If you've never heard, I've got to patch my router, how would you?
Yes. So it's like, it's not just actively going to compromise sites, but it's also just neglect, like whether it's intentional or not. Like, yeah, I know a lot. Yeah, like lots of people just don't understand that, and so that
How
makes
many of us have seen that little red icon pop up on our iPhone and go, "Oh, another update. I don't want to do this right now." Every time I do it, my phone changes or something different,
right.
And they just push it off and push it off and push it off and push it off.
Yes.
Or you're even using just old technology because you don't want to update your technology, right? So you still have Windows 10 or God forbid Windows 8 or 7.
Windows 7.
Windows 7 is end of life, no support. They're not making patches for it. They're like, rip it out, don't use it anymore, get rid of it. It's so full of vulnerabilities. It's the new Windows XP from a vulnerability perspective. They just, but people don't realize your hardware and software need to be updated as frequently as you can afford. If a hardware refresh isn't in your budget, at least do the minimum software update. So keep current versions of software. You don't have to stay bleeding edge, right? Because the manufacturers of these things, they'll keep a handful of releases back supported, and they'll still write patches for it. But 5 to 7 years in a life cycle of software and hardware, that's pretty ancient. And you could be exposing yourself to a lot more risk in that.
Just do something. Doing nothing is no longer an option.